up, folks? Welcome back to Ever So Slight. Jorge Anito here, saying the same thing I do in every video. Welcome back. Today I'll be using the Innocence Holographic Edition Black Roses playing cards. The Kickstarter campaign is live. Run over, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. There are coins on offer, vintage casino, decks, gilded decks. Get it while the getting's good. Welcome back to Practical Magic, a segment that is devoted to, well, its namesake, magic that is practical. We have a real treat for you today. Harapan Ong has given me permission to teach a trick. The Card Across is the name of it, from this book, Principia, first released in 2018. It's a wonderful routine. I've been doing it for a few years now. Yeah, I reached out and said, hey, do you mind if I share this? And he said, absolutely. Big thank you to Harapan for that. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I think you'll find that this trick is pretty easy to pick up and learn. There's a little bit of a knack to the Ribbonspread hideout move. We'll discuss that. I have a few small touches that I do that personally I find helpful for myself. I'll share that with you. However, let's get into it. So you'll start with just a normal deck of cards. It could be borrowed, shuffled. This trick is completely impromptu, my favorite kind of trick. I think that's why I was drawn to it so much. But anyway, if you have a spectator, you could do this on video like I've shown in the performance. But if you have a spectator, you could say, I'm going to dribble the cards. I just want you to call out stop. Okay, so the idea is to try to time this dribble to where they say stop somewhere around halfway, simply because you're going to be doing two different ribbon spreads, right? And so you want roughly an even amount of cards, right? So that's what I try to aim for. When I do the dribble, I try to stop around halfway. So there's that. So you'll go ahead and stop around halfway, or whenever the spectator says stop. Obviously, you can slow the dribble and speed it up according to, how things are going. So once they say stop, you're going to do a few things. First, I like to go ahead and square this packet. It's going to be important because you're going to need to get a pinky break under the top two cards, but not in view of the spectator, obviously. So I go ahead and square as I kind of point to this card as, this is the selection, this is where you said stop. And at this point, I come down here and I'm going to bring attention to this first packet, which I'm going to do a ribbon spread, and that kind of conceals the pinky count, where I, count down two cards. I just hold it there, and you're going to do, this is important, a reverse ribbon spread. Normally, a normal ribbon spread would be from left to right. You're going to go the opposite direction. This isn't as awkward as it may seem. You just do it like that. You may find that you need to tweak it just a little bit to kind of get it to flow right, I guess, and to look neat, right, to be more presentable. So at this point, I have the pinky break. I like to do a soft double, right, and then I turn it over. You don't have to do that. You could just simply do a double turnover. Right? And so at this point, you're going to want to place the indifferent card into this spread. So I like to do this a few different ways. My preferred method is to kind of loosen the top card up, and just by ever so slightly pushing that card to the right to where I could feel with these fingers that, okay, there's a card loose. And at this point, I kind of toss it to this hand. You don't have to do that, however. and in the toss, I should say, I also wrist kill. That's important because you don't want to flash this card. This one is actually their selection right here. So you're going to take another way to do it is to simply pick up from the back and just wrist kill, right? That's another way that I like to do it as well. And you're going to place it in the spread. Now, I like to use my index finger just to kind of steady the spread. That way I don't come in here and just start messing up the spread. So I just kind of place it there gently as I kind of work the selection, right, in different card into the spread. Now, it's important for the hideout move that you don't put the card in all the way in the same orientation as the other cards. Maybe that's not the right word. What I mean is you only want so much of this card to actually go into the spread. You could see how much of the card is actually going into it. It's not very much, maybe a third of the card, right? And that's important because when you do the hideout move or the spread, this perfectly hides it, right? And you're going to do the exact same thing with this other spread. So let's start over. Let's start from the beginning. And spectator says stop, point to it, wrist kill, pinky count, reverse ribbon spread, soft double, or whatever double you prefer. You need to get that card over here. You're going to put it in the spread about a third of the way in, and this is the point where it gets a little tricky, right? So Harapan Ong teaches that you need to do a swing cut, and then you need to use these fingers to drag this card over, like so. Essentially, this is what you're going to accomplish. Everything's completely hidden, right? I have a hard time doing that because where I have dry hands. So something that I like to do, I get a pinky pull down on the bottom card, transfer quickly to a thumb break. I initiate the swing cut halfway through. When I know that this card is about halfway over the pack, then I release with the thumb, right? So I just deposit the card as I finish the swing cut, right? And so now I'm perfectly set up exactly where I need to be. And then you do a normal ribbon spread, a reverse ribbon spread up here, a normal one for the one down here, right? And the same thing is kind of happening, right? So whereas the card is hidden here, it will be revealed once the spread is enacted. And up here, likewise, this card will be hidden. This is a teleportation trick. Think of something like coins across, right? Or matrix effects where something travels from point A to point B. This is what's happening. So at this point, you want to cross your hands because if you do it like this, then you're going to end with your hands crossed and you will be obstructing the spectator's view. So and this is what Harapan Ong teaches, is to just go ahead and cross your hands now. That way, when everything is completed, everything is opened up, right? They see that the card has indeed teleported. Now, as just a final touch, I like to show the card and then I like to place it back over here, the place at where it once was, right? It started here, it jumped here, I put it back here where it once was. Just a little touch that I do. We'll run through this one more time. I'm going to mention this, the 2 credits that he does list in the book. The first is Mr. Nyquist with his Ribbonspread Reverse. That was in Hugard's Magic Monthly, published in 1948. There's a second one, published a little later on, 1974, Vernon's reverse card, Vanish in Spread, and that was in Jacob Daley's notebooks. Okay, guys, so to continue on, last time, you're going to dribble the cards about halfway, right? Square, usher at the card, wrist kill, pinky count, 2 cards, reverse ribbon spread with the right hand, soft double, turn over, or whatever double works for you. Then you're going to want to get the indifferent card into this hand by whatever method you prefer. I like to steady the spread with my left index as I take the indifferent card and kind of work it in about a third of the way through. I transfer. I now shift my focus to this packet, immediately go into a pinky pull down on that bottom card, transfer to the thumb, initiate the swing cut halfway through, deposit the card, right, as I complete the swing cut. Be careful not to flash back here or right here. And then I go into this spread. Now you may find that when you first start doing this, that maybe this card, maybe you spread it too thin and you flash a little bit, and you want to be careful of that. What I do to kind of ensure that is, just like a card up here is a third of the way pushed into the spread, this card needs to be about a third of the way out. And so another thing I do is, when I initiate the spread, I apply pressure to the index for about halfway. Then when I feel that I'm about halfway through, I then transfer to a different pressure point, which is kind of like the middle, right? And then I'm pushing down like that. So I'm starting pushing down here, and then I transfer to this. And this just kind of ensures, for me, an even spread. It's kind of weird if you just stop midway and then do a different pressure point. So something like that is a little bit better. From here, you cross your arms, your hands, your left hand comes up to the upper right. Your right hand comes down here to the bottom left, and you initiate spreads at the same time. Oops, see, I messed up. And then the card up here is hidden. This one down here is revealed. Now, you'll find that the only issue that I have, and this is just something that I need to work on, is I want to get my ribbon spreads a little bit cleaner. And so even though that I start out with both ribbon spreads, they look even like this, I find that, okay, once I complete them, this spread ends up over here, this one ends up down here. So if you prefer, you could start the spread slightly to the left, and this one slightly to the right. That way, when you initiate the spreads, they kind of land more evenly. I don't know, I guess I prefer the first presentation as opposed to the second. That's just kind of a thing you'll have to decide. But guys, there's that. Once again, big thanks to Harapan for allowing me to teach this beautiful trick of his. Such an honor. Hope you guys enjoy it. One last mention, the Holographic Innocence playing cards. The campaign on Kickstarter, it's live right now. Link in the description, run over, give it a look. Guys, I'm Jorge Anito, ever so slight. Thank you for being with me. Have a good week. Peace.